He had 60 days to build furniture for a hotel and somehow not fall for the woman watching his every cut. The workshop smelled like sawdust and coffee. Claire Dawson stood in the doorway with blueprints under her arm and questions in her eyes. 30 custom pieces, 8 weeks, a commission that would save Noah Bennett's failing business or bury it completely. He hadn't wanted a partner, not in work, not in anything. Single fatherhood and starting over had taught him to keep his world small and safe. But she needed him. Her last project had been sabotaged by someone she trusted, and now she was here, asking him to build something beautiful while she figured out how to trust again. The office was empty by 3. Noah sat at his desk and watched the light change through the window. 14 years at Harrison & Cole, and it ended with a printed letter and a box for his things. His phone buzzed. Jake, probably asking about dinner. He stared at the letter. Corporate restructuring, budget cuts. They appreciated his contributions. The words blurred together like they always did when something mattered too much to process clearly. Outside, traffic moved in steady lines. People going somewhere, people with plans that still made sense. He picked up the photo from his desk. Jake at 10, holding up a birdhouse they'd built together. The kid's smile was crooked and bright. The box sat empty on the chair. The garage smelled like old paint and possibility. Noah set the toolbox down and looked at the space. Concrete floor, bare walls, a workbench his father had built 30 years ago. Jake appeared in the doorway with another box. "This is the last one." "Thanks, bud." They unpacked in silence. Saws and sanders, clamps and chisels. Tools Noah had collected over years of weekend projects and half-finished dreams. Jake held up a hand plane. "Grandpa's?" "Yeah." Noah took it, ran his thumb over the worn handle. "He taught me how to read wood grain with this. Said every piece has a story if you know how to listen." "You really think you can make this work?" Noah set the plane on the bench. "I have to." The overhead light flickered. Outside, rain started to tap against the window. The coffee shop was too bright and too loud. Claire Dawson sat across from Noah with a leather portfolio and the kind of focus that made him sit up straighter. "I saw your work online," she said. "The dining table you posted last month. The joinery was clean." "Thanks." Noah wrapped his hands around his cup. "I mostly do custom pieces, small scale. I need large scale." She opened the portfolio. Sketches and fabric samples spilled across the table. The Riverside Hotel, lobby furniture, guest room pieces, restaurant tables, 30 items total. He stared at the drawings. "That's a 6-month project." "I have 60 days. "That's impossible." Claire met his eyes. Her jaw was set in a way that said she'd heard that word before and ignored it. "The hotel opens in 10 weeks. I have 8 weeks to deliver, which gives you 60 days to build." Noah picked up one of the sketches, a headboard with curved inlay. "Beautiful, complicated." "Why me?" "Because you care about the details." She pointed to the joinery in his online photos. "And because everyone else said no. I have a son, school pickups, dinner, homework. I have deadlines, investors, a reputation I'm rebuilding." She leaned forward. "I'm not asking you to do this alone. I'll be there, every step. We collaborate." The word hung between them like a challenge. Noah looked at the sketches again, the curves and angles, the kind of work that made his hands itch to start. "I'll need to see the space first." The hotel lobby was concrete and promise. Exposed beams, floor-to-ceiling windows, light pouring in like an invitation. Claire walked him through each area. Her voice shifted when she talked about design, softer and more certain at the same time. "The front desk here, walnut, live edge. The grain should feel organic but refined." She gestured to the seating area. 6 lounge chairs, low backs, leather cushions, Conversation pieces, not show pieces. Noah took notes. His mind was already working through dimensions in wood selection. The restaurant tables are the centerpiece, Claire continued. 8 four-tops, 2 8-tops. I want them to feel like heirlooms. The kind of tables where people propose or celebrate anniversaries. You're asking for a lot of emotional weight. I'm asking for furniture that matters. They stopped at the window. Portland stretched out below them, gray and green under low clouds. Why this project? Noah asked. You could design anywhere. Claire's expression tightened. My last project fell apart. Someone I trusted made sure of it. This is my chance to prove I can still deliver something worth trusting. And if I say no? She looked at him. Then I find someone else who says yes. But I'd rather work with someone who understands what's at stake. Rain started to streak the glass. Noah thought about Jake, about the mortgage, about the toolbox sitting in his garage waiting for purpose. 60 days, he said. 60 days. They shook hands. Her grip was firm and steady. The workshop was cold at 9 p.m. Noah had sketched 3 versions of the front desk and hated them all. Claire sat on a stool with her laptop, pulling up reference images. The edge needs to be softer, she said. Soft edges don't work with live edge. You lose the organic feel. Then find a way to make it work. Noah set down his pencil. You hired me for my expertise. Let me use it. Claire closed her laptop. I hired you to build what I designed, not reinterpret it. Design and build aren't separate. The wood dictates what's possible. The vision dictates what's necessary. They stared at each other across the workbench. The space between them was full of sawdust and stubbornness. Noah picked up a piece of scrap walnut. Look at this grain. See how it curves here? If I force a straight edge, I'm fighting the wood. It'll split or warp. But if I follow the curve and soften it with a chamfer, you get organic and refined. Claire took the wood, ran her fingers along the grain. Show me. He pulled out a hand plane and demonstrated. Long, even strokes. The blade peeling away thin ribbons, the edge transforming from rough to fluid. That could work, she said quietly. It will work. She handed the wood back. Their fingers brushed. Neither of them moved for a beat too long. Same time tomorrow? Claire asked. Yeah. The door closed behind her. Noah stood alone in the workshop and tried not to think about the way her voice had softened when she'd said, that could work. Jake was doing homework at the kitchen table when Noah got home. Math textbook open, pencil tapping a rhythm against the page. How's the hotel thing? Jake asked without looking up. Complicated. Because of the work or because of the designer lady? Noah opened the fridge. What designer lady? The one you mentioned 3 times at dinner last night. Jake grinned. Claire, right? You said her name like you were trying not to say it too much. I said her name like a normal person. Dad, I'm 16, not 6. You get this look when you talk about her, like you're trying to solve a puzzle. Noah grabbed a beer and sat down. It's a work thing. She has high standards. We're figuring out how to collaborate. She sounds cool. She's intense. You like intense. You married mom. The room went quiet. Jake's pencil stopped tapping. Sorry, Jake said. That was weird to bring up. It's okay. Noah took a drink. Your mom was intense, in different ways. This is just work, though. I'm focused on building the business, on making sure we're stable. Jake closed his textbook. You know what Grandpa used to say? Best furniture gets built when you care about more than just the wood. When did you get so wise? I've been hanging around you for 16 years. Something had to rub off. Noah smiled. Homework done? Almost. Hey, Dad, it's okay if you like her. The puzzle-solving look is better than the worried look. The fridge hummed. Outside, wind moved through the trees. Finish your math, Noah said. They found a rhythm by the end of week 2. Claire arrived at 7 with coffee. Noah had sketches ready. They'd argue for 20 minutes, then find compromise in the details. The front desk took shape slowly. Walnut planks laid out on the floor. Noah traced the live edge with chalk, planning his cuts. Claire knelt beside him. If you follow this curve and mirror it here, the symmetry could work. He looked at the lines. That's actually smart. Don't sound so surprised. I'm not. I'm impressed. She glanced at him. Something shifted in her expression, softer at the edges. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone who'd fight me more, or someone who'd just do whatever I said without pushing back. Noah sat back on his heels. I don't do either of those well. Good. She handed him the chalk. Mark the cut line. Let's see if this works. They worked in comfortable silence. The only sounds were chalk on wood and rain on the roof. Noah's shoulder brushed hers when he reached for his measuring tape. Neither of them pulled away. My ex-husband used to hate when I had opinions, Claire said quietly. He'd smile and nod, then do exactly what he wanted. Said I was too controlling. Were you? Probably. When you've been ignored enough, you start talking louder. Noah marked the final measurement. I'm not ignoring you. I know. She stood and brushed sawdust from her jeans. That's why this might actually work. The workshop felt smaller suddenly, warmer. Claire cleared her throat. I should go. Early meeting tomorrow. Yeah, see you at 7? 7. She paused at the door. Noah, thanks for listening to the wood. And to me. The door closed. The workshop was quiet again, but the space felt different now, less empty. Claire was reviewing lumber invoices when footsteps echoed across the hotel lobby. She looked up and felt her stomach drop. David, her ex-husband. Charcoal suit and practiced smile. Claire, I heard you landed the Riverside project. Congratulations. She closed her laptop. What are you doing here? Richard Moss asked me to consult on the investment side. Quality assurance. Making sure the design and build teams deliver on time. Richard didn't mention you. He didn't mention me to you. David walked closer. His cologne was the same. Expensive and too strong. We go back 20 years. He trusts my eye. Your eye ruined my last project. That was a communication breakdown. You know how these things go. Claire stood. You told the investors my designs were over budget and behind schedule. You showed them altered timelines. You made sure I looked incompetent. I gave them accurate information. You sabotaged me. David's smile never wavered. I'm here to help, Claire. The hotel opens in 10 weeks. Your furniture needs to be exceptional. I'll be checking in regularly, making sure standards are met. He left his business card on her laptop. The door closed behind him with a soft click. Claire's hands were shaking. She picked up her phone and stared at Noah's number. Then she put the phone down. This was her problem, her past. She wouldn't let it touch the one thing that was finally working. Outside, the rain turned to sleet. The windows reflected her face, pale and determined. She had 60 days to prove David wrong, and 59 days to figure out why the thought of Noah finding out about this made her chest feel tight. Noah arrived early with Danish and found Claire already in the workshop. She stood at the window with her phone pressed to her ear, voice low and tight. I don't care what you told Richard. You have no authority over my design choices. Pause. No, David, we're done discussing this. She ended the call and stood there, shoulders rigid. Noah set down the pastry bag. Everything okay? Claire turned. Her smile was practiced and didn't reach her eyes. Fine, just investor concerns. That didn't sound like an investor. It's handled. She grabbed her coffee. Should we review the chair progress? Noah watched her redirect. The wall had gone up fast and smooth. He recognized the move because he'd used it himself 100 times with Jake. Claire. The chairs, Noah. We're 3 weeks in. We need to stay on schedule. He let it drop. For now. They worked until midnight. 6 lounge chairs in various stages of completion. The curved backs were giving Noah trouble. Claire sat on the floor with sandpaper, smoothing spindles by hand. "You don't have to do that," Noah said. "I can handle the finish work." "I like it. Meditative." He glanced at her. Sawdust in her hair, focused expression. "You're good at this." "I'm good at a lot of things. People just don't usually let me prove it." Noah reached for a chisel. At the same moment, Claire reached for the mallet. Their hands collided. She pulled back fast, but not before he felt the warmth of her skin against his. "Sorry," they said simultaneously. The workshop was too quiet, too aware. Claire handed him the mallet. Their fingers brushed again. This time, neither of them pulled away immediately. "We should call it a night," she said, but didn't move. "Yeah." The moment stretched. Noah could see the flecks of gold in her eyes, could smell her perfume under the sawdust. Something citrus and cedar. Claire stood abruptly. "Same time tomorrow?" "Yeah, tomorrow." She gathered her things and left. Noah stood in the empty workshop and tried to remember all the reasons why getting involved was a terrible idea. He came up with 6 good ones. None of them felt convincing anymore. The email from the lumber supplier hit at 7 a.m. Payment overdue. Credit on hold. No new shipments until balance cleared. Noah stared at the numbers. He'd budgeted carefully, but the walnut alone had cost more than estimated. And the finish-grade maple. And the specialty hinges Claire had insisted on. Jake appeared in the doorway with toast. "You look stressed." "Just work stuff." "How much work stuff?" Noah closed the laptop. "Nothing I can't handle." "Dad, I'm not a kid. How bad is it?" $3,000 bad. I don't have it until the hotel pays the first milestone, which isn't for 2 more weeks. Jake sat down. "What about the emergency fund?" "That's for actual emergencies, not poor planning." "This is an emergency. You need materials to finish the job." Noah rubbed his face. "I'll figure something out." The toast sat untouched between them. Outside, a crow called from the fence line. Claire noticed the tension in Noah's shoulders the moment she walked in. He was reorganizing tools that didn't need organizing. "What's wrong?" she asked. "Nothing. We're good." "Noah." He stopped moving. "Supplier wants payment up front. I don't have it yet." Claire pulled out her phone. "How much?" "No." "How much?" 3,000, but I'm not taking your money." "It's not charity. It's an advance on the project." "Claire, we have a contract. Milestones. I'm not changing the terms because I miscalculated." She transferred the money anyway. Her banking app chimed confirmation. Noah stared at his phone. "I didn't ask you to do that." "I know. I can't accept this." "You can, and you will. The project needs materials. I need the furniture done. This is practical." She met his eyes. "Not pity." "It feels like pity." "It's called partnership. Get used to it." Noah's jaw tightened. "I don't need saving." "Good, because I'm not here to save you. I'm here to build something that matters. And I can't do that if you're too proud to let me help." The words hung in the air between them, sharp and honest. "I'll pay you back," Noah said finally, "with interest." "I don't want interest. I want exceptional furniture. Can you deliver that?" "Yes." "Then we're even." She turned back to her laptop, but her hands were shaking slightly. The memory of David calling her controlling echoed in her head. Noah wasn't David, but the fear was still there. 3 days later, Noah found out about the advance when he checked the project accounting. Claire had listed it as design consultation fees, paid to herself, then transferred the same amount to his materials account. He found her at the hotel, reviewing paint samples with the contractor. "We need to talk," he said. Claire excused herself. They walked to the empty restaurant space. "You paid yourself to pay me," Noah said. "That money came out of your fee." "It's my money. I can do what I want with it." "You took a pay cut to cover my mistake." "It wasn't a mistake. You underestimated material costs. That's normal for a first project this size. Claire, his voice was low and frustrated, I'm not a charity case. For God's sake, Noah, this isn't about charity. Her composure cracked. This is about finishing something I started without someone sabotaging it. This is about proving I can deliver. And I can't do that if you quit because of $3,000. I wasn't going to quit. Then what were you going to do? Take out a loan? Sell tools? Go further into debt while refusing help from the person standing right here? I was going to figure it out. Why? Why does it have to be a loan? The question landed heavy between them. Noah looked at her, really looked. The exhaustion around her eyes, the defensive set of her shoulders. The woman who'd been let down so many times, she'd learned to control everything she could reach. Because every time I've relied on someone else, it's fallen apart, he said quietly. My marriage, my corporate job, my dad dying before I learned enough from him. I'm used to doing it alone. I know the feeling. They stood in the unfinished restaurant. Light filtered through uncovered windows. The space smelled like paint and possibility. I'm sorry, Noah said, for being stubborn, for not seeing that help isn't the same as failure. I'm sorry for steamrolling, for not asking first. Claire's voice was softer now. David used to help by taking over, by making me feel small and incompetent. You're not him, but I forget sometimes. I forget that partnership can look different. We're both pretty bad at this. Terrible. They smiled, small and tentative. I'll pay you back anyway, Noah said. But thank you for believing this is worth saving. It is, she held his gaze. You are. The moment stretched. Noah felt something shift in his chest, something that felt like hope and terrified him completely. We should get back to work, Claire said. Yeah, but neither of them moved right away. Jake was at the kitchen table when Noah got home. Books closed, phone face down, the universal sign of teenage crisis. What's wrong? Noah asked. I asked Emma Chen to the spring dance. She said no. Noah sat down. I'm sorry, bud. It's fine, whatever. Jake's voice was trying for casual and missing. I knew it was stupid. She's into Dylan Martinez anyway. Everyone knows that. Then why'd you ask? Because you said the furniture thing, about building something worth the risk. Noah felt his chest tighten. Jake, it's fine, Dad, really. I just thought maybe if I was brave like you've been with your business, it would work out. But being brave doesn't mean things work out. It just means you feel stupid faster. The fridge hummed. Outside, a dog barked twice and went quiet. When I asked your mom out, Noah said, she said no the first time. Jake looked up. Really? Really. She was dating someone else. Told me she wasn't interested. I was devastated. Convinced I'd miss my shot. What changed? I didn't push. I stayed friends with her. Showed up when she needed help moving. Brought coffee when she was stressed about exams. 3 months later, she asked me to dinner. So you're saying don't give up? I'm saying sometimes brave isn't the big gesture. It's the quiet consistency. It's showing up. Being the kind of person someone wants to take a chance on. Jake picked at his notebook corner. You think Emma might change her mind? I think Emma might. Or someone else might notice you're the kind of guy who asks despite being scared. Both are good outcomes. Were you scared? With Mom? Terrified. Are you scared now? With Claire? Noah opened his mouth, closed it. That's different. Because you're old? Because I have more to lose now. You, the business, stability. Jake leaned back in his chair. Grandpa used to say the best things in life are the ones that scare you. Maybe he was right. When did you get wiser than me? I've been listening to your workshop talks with Claire. You're braver than you think, Dad. Maybe Emma saying no isn't the end. Maybe it's just practice. Noah smiled. You're going to be okay, kid. So are you. The workshop was quiet at midnight. Most of the pieces were done. Just the restaurant tables left. The centerpieces Claire had said should feel like heirlooms. Noah was routing edges when Claire appeared in the doorway. She looked exhausted and raw. "Can't sleep?" he asked. "Too much coffee, too many thoughts." She walked to the workbench. "Can I tell you something?" "Of course." "David was my business partner before he was my husband. We built a design firm together. I did the creative work. He handled investors and contracts. It was supposed to be equal." Noah set down his tools and listened. "But he started taking credit for my designs. Started telling people I was just the execution, that he was the vision. And I let him because I thought partnership meant compromise, meant not fighting for what was mine." Her voice was steady, but her hands weren't. "When the firm grew, he pushed me out of meetings, said I was too emotional, too difficult. By the time I realized what was happening, he'd convinced everyone I was the problem. So I divorced him, left the firm, started over alone." "Claire, the hotel project is my first major commission in 2 years. David's doing exactly what he did before, planting doubts, telling Richard I'm behind schedule, suggesting the furniture quality might not meet standards, and I'm terrified it's going to work again." Noah stepped closer. "It won't. You don't know that. I know your designs are brilliant. I know the furniture we're building is exceptional, and I know you're not alone this time." Claire looked at him. Her eyes were bright with unshed tears. "I'm scared of needing you," she said quietly, "because the last time I needed someone, he destroyed me. I'm not him. I know, but knowing doesn't make the fear go away." Noah reached out slowly, gave her time to pull back. When she didn't, he took her hand. "You helped me when I needed it. You believed in this work when I was terrified of failing. Let me return the favor." "How?" "By finishing this project, by proving David wrong, by showing up every day until you believe I'm not going anywhere." A tear slipped down her cheek. She wiped it away quickly. "I'm not usually this much of a mess," she said. "You're not a mess. You're human." They stood close enough that he could feel her breathing, could see the exact moment she decided to trust him. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For listening, for staying, for not making me feel weak for being scared. You're the strongest person I know. I don't feel strong. That's when strength matters most." The workshop was warm despite the cold outside. Claire's hand was still in his. Neither of them let go. "I should go," she said eventually, but she didn't move. "Yeah." "Noah?" "Yeah? I think I'm falling for you, and that terrifies me more than David ever could." His heart stopped. Started again, harder. "I think I've been falling for you since you argued with me about wood grain," he said. "And yes, it's terrifying." She laughed, small and shaky. "What do we do? Maybe we just see what happens. No pressure, no expectations. Just us, building something together." "That sounds too simple." "The best things usually are." Claire looked at him, searching his face for something. Whatever she found must have been enough, because she leaned in. The kiss was soft, tentative, tasted like coffee and possibility. When they pulled apart, she was smiling. "Tomorrow?" she asked. "Tomorrow." She left. Noah stood in his workshop surrounded by half-finished furniture and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. They finished the centerpiece table 3 days later. 8 feet of black walnut with book-match grain. The kind of piece that made people stop and touch the surface just to feel the smoothness. Noah stepped back. "It's done." Claire ran her hand along the edge. "It's perfect." "We did good work." "We did." She turned to him. The workshop was golden in late afternoon light. Sawdust hung in the air like snow. "Noah," he kissed her, properly this time, his hands in her hair, her fingers gripping his shirt. The kiss was everything the first one wasn't, certain and deep, and full of weeks of want, finally finding permission. When they broke apart, they were both breathing hard. "I've been wanting to do that again," he said. "Me too." They kissed against the workbench, slow and searching, learning the shape of each other. The workshop disappeared. The deadlines, the pressure, just them and the furniture they'd built, and the thing growing between them that felt inevitable. Claire's phone buzzed. She ignored it. It buzzed again. "You should check that," Noah said. She pulled back reluctantly, read the screen. Her expression went cold. "What is it?" "Richard, the investor. He wants to see the furniture, tomorrow morning, 3 weeks early." "Why?" Claire showed him the email. "Concerns about timeline, quality assurance, David's recommendation." "He's trying to sabotage us," she said. "If Richard sees pieces that aren't finished, he'll pull funding. The hotel will cancel the contract." Noah looked at the workshop. Half the restaurant tables still needed assembly. The chairs needed final finishing. The guest room pieces weren't even started. "How many pieces does he want to see?" "The email says a representative sample, probably 5 or 6. "We can do that. The front desk is done. This table, 3 chairs, the entryway console. They're not all perfect yet." "They don't have to be perfect. They have to be exceptional." Claire looked at him. "You really think we can pull this off?" "I think we've been pulling it off for 5 weeks. Tomorrow's just proof." She kissed him again, quick and grateful. "Okay, let's do this." Richard Moss arrived at 9 a.m. in a charcoal suit and skeptical expression. David was with him, smiling and solicitous in everything Noah immediately hated. "These are the pieces?" Richard walked around the front desk, ran his hand along the live edge. "Representative samples," Claire said. Her voice was steady, professional. "Each piece reflects the design vision, handcrafted, custom, built to last generations." David stepped closer to the center table. "The grain is inconsistent here." "That's book-matched walnut," Noah said calmly. "The inconsistency is intentional. It creates visual interest while maintaining symmetry." "Seems like a flaw disguised as design." "Seems like you don't understand craftsmanship." The room went quiet. Richard glanced between them. Claire touched Noah's arm, a small gesture, grounding. "These pieces represent 30% of the total project. Every item will meet this standard. Hand-selected materials, precision joinery, finishes that enhance rather than hide the wood's character." Richard examined a lounge chair, tested the stability, checked the underside for build quality. "The work is good," he said finally, "better than good." "But," Claire's voice was tight, "but David raised questions about timeline, about whether you can deliver the remaining pieces with this level of quality in 3 weeks. "I can deliver," Claire said. "We can deliver." "With respect, Claire, your last project had issues." "My last project was sabotaged." She looked directly at David. "By someone who felt threatened by my success." David's smile never wavered. "That's a serious accusation." "It's the truth. You altered timelines, provided false information to investors, made sure I looked incompetent so you could take over the project." "Richard, I tried to help Claire. She was overextended, emotional. I did what was necessary." "You did what was cruel." Richard held up his hand. "This isn't helping anyone." Claire took a breath. Noah saw her hands shaking slightly, saw the moment she had to choose between staying safe or standing up. "Richard," she said quietly, "I've spent 2 years rebuilding my reputation. This project means everything to me, and these pieces prove I can deliver. Not because I'm lucky, not because someone carried me, because I'm good at what I do. And I found a partner who respects that." She looked at Noah. He nodded. "The furniture will be done early," Noah said. "Every piece, on budget, better than the samples you see here, because we care about the work. Not about politics or credit, just the work." Richard was quiet for a long moment. He walked around the room again, studying each piece, testing, evaluating. "Okay," he said finally. "Okay?" Claire repeated. "Okay, finish the project. David, thank you for your time. I don't need additional consulting." David's expression flickered. "Richard, I really think ongoing oversight. Claire's proven she has it handled. We're done here." He left. David lingered. His eyes found Claire. "You always were difficult to work with." "No," she said. "I was difficult to control. There's a difference." He left without another word. The warehouse was quiet. Sunlight streamed through the high windows. Claire stood in the middle of it all and started to laugh, slightly hysterical, fully relieved. Noah pulled her into his arms. "You were incredible." "We were incredible." "Yeah, we were." They held each other in the empty space. The furniture around them was proof of what they'd built, together, despite everything. "3 weeks," Claire said into his shoulder. "We can do 3 weeks." "And then what?" "And then we figure out what comes next." She pulled back to look at him. "I want there to be a next." "Me too." They kissed in the warehouse light. The furniture watched. Silent witnesses to something real finally finding its shape. The workshop ran on coffee and determination. Noah, Claire, and Jake worked through the night, assembly line style. Noah cut and shaped. Claire sanded and stained. Jake ran supplies and helped with assembly. "Hand me the drill," Noah said at 2 a.m. Jake passed it over. "This is actually kind of fun, in a completely exhausting way." "That's craftsmanship," Noah said. "All the best work hurts a little." Claire looked up from her sanding station, sawdust in her hair, smiled tired but genuine. "Your dad's getting philosophical. We might need more coffee." "I'll make a run." Jake grabbed the keys. "Be back in 20. The door closed. Noah and Claire were alone in the golden workshop light. "Come here," Noah said. She walked over. He pulled her close despite the sawdust covering both of them. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for bringing Jake into this, for making it feel like something we're building together, all of us. He's a good kid. You raised him well." "I'm trying. Some days I think I'm doing it right. Other days I'm just hoping I don't mess him up too badly. That's called being a parent. You're allowed to be uncertain." Noah kissed her forehead. "I'm certain about you." "Even covered in sawdust?" "Especially covered in sawdust." They stood in the warm workshop. The furniture surrounded them in various stages of completion. Evidence of work and care and something being built, piece by piece. "We're going to finish this," Claire said. "I know. And then we're going to figure out what we are." "I know that too." Jake's truck pulled into the driveway. They separated reluctantly. "Break's over," Noah said. "Back to work." But they were both smiling. David appeared at the hotel site at noon. Noah was installing the front desk. Claire was directing the placement crew. "Interesting choice," David said, examining the desk. "Walnut's a soft wood, won't hold up to commercial use." "It's finished with conversion varnish," Noah said without looking up. "Same spec hotels use for bars. It'll outlast both of us." "Still, Richard should know about the durability concerns." Claire stepped between them. "Richard signed off on materials 3 weeks ago. You were copied on the email. This is harassment, David. This is professional concern. This is you trying to stay relevant." Her voice was calm and cutting. "The project is on schedule. The work is exceptional. You have no standing here. Richard and I go back." "Richard dismissed you last week in front of witnesses. You're here on your own, trying to find problems that don't exist." David's jaw tightened. "You always thought you were smarter than everyone else." "No. I just stopped pretending to be smaller than I am to make you comfortable." The placement crew had stopped working, everyone watching. David looked around, realized his audience. His face flushed. "This isn't over," he said. "Yes," Claire said quietly, "it is. You don't get to take credit for my work. You don't get to sabotage my projects. You don't get space in my head anymore. We're done. Completely. David left. The door swung shut behind him. One of the crew members whistled low. Damn, that was satisfying to watch. Claire let out a shaky breath. Noah touched her elbow. You okay? Yeah, actually, I am. She looked at the desk. The wood glowed in the light. Let's finish this. The restaurant tables were the last pieces. 8 4-tops, 2 8-tops. Each one required precision fitting and hand-rubbed finish. Noah was on table 7 when his hand slipped. The chisel bit into his thumb. Blood welled fast and bright. Damn it! Claire was there instantly. How bad? Just a cut. She grabbed the first aid kit. Let me see. He held out his hand. The cut was deep but clean. Claire cleaned it with steady hands and wrapped it tight. You need to be more careful, she said. I know. You're exhausted. We all are. Maybe we should take a break. We have 2 days, 10 tables, no time for breaks. Claire tied off the bandage. Noah, it doesn't matter if we finish if you hurt yourself doing it. It matters to me. Why? What are you trying to prove? He pulled his hand back. That I can do this. That I can provide. That I'm not just a guy who got lucky with one commission. You're not lucky. You're talented. Talent doesn't pay mortgages. Finished projects do. Claire sat back. Is that what this is about? Money? Because we can extend the deadline. Richard will understand. I don't want understanding. I want to deliver what I promised. On time. At the standard I set. Without excuses or extensions. That's ego talking. That's pride. There's a difference. They stared at each other across the workbench. The same stubbornness that had brought them together was now pulling them apart. I'm going to finish these tables, Noah said, with or without your approval. Fine, do it alone then. Claire walked out. The workshop door closed hard. Noah stood in the silence and felt the weight of his own stupidity. Jake found him an hour later, still working, hand throbbing, table 7 3/4 done. Claire called me, Jake said, told me to check on you, said you're being an idiot. I'm working. You're bleeding through the bandage. Noah looked down, red seeping through white gauze. It's fine. Dad, stop. Jake took the chisel from his hand, set it down. Why are you doing this? Because it matters. The furniture or the pride? Noah leaned against the workbench. I don't know anymore. Emma texted me yesterday, Jake said. Asked if I wanted to study together. I almost said no because I was scared of getting hurt again. But you said yes. Yeah, because being scared isn't a reason to stop trying. But Dad, being scared isn't a reason to push people away either. Noah looked at his son, 16 and wiser than he had any right to be. When did you figure all this out? When I watched you and Claire build something together. You're better when she's here, calmer, more yourself. Don't ruin it because you're afraid of needing her. The workshop was quiet. The half-finished table sat between them, proof of work and pride and the thin line between them. I should apologize, Noah said. Yeah, you really should. Claire was at the hotel reviewing paint swatches when Noah found her. Her expression was carefully neutral. Can we talk? He asked. If you're here to defend your pride again, I'm not interested. I'm here to apologize. She set down the swatches. I'm listening. You were right. I was being an idiot, pushing too hard, trying to prove something that didn't need proving. Noah stepped closer. After I lost my job, I felt like I failed at everything. Being a provider, being stable for Jake. I thought if I could just finish this project perfectly, I'd prove I was worth something. Noah, but the project isn't what proves my worth. It's how I show up, how I treat people, how I let people help me when I need it. He took her hand. You told me once that partnership looks different than control. I heard you, but I didn't really understand until I pushed you away and felt how empty the workshop was without you. Claire's expression softened. I'm scared too, of needing you, of this working, of this falling apart. So we're both scared, terrified. Maybe that means it matters. She squeezed his hand. I'm sorry too, for walking out, for not staying to fight. I'm still learning that fighting doesn't mean failing. We're both learning. They stood in the unfinished hotel. Light poured through the windows. The space was almost complete, just waiting for the final pieces. Help me finish the tables? Noah asked. Together? Together. Claire kissed him, soft and certain. Let's build something worth keeping. The final table was done at 4 a.m. Noah, Claire, and Jake stood back and looked at the completed set. 10 tables, each one unique, each one beautiful. We did it, Claire said quietly. We did. Jake was sprawled on the floor. Can I sleep for a week now? You can sleep for 2 weeks, Noah said, after we install everything. Cruel and unusual punishment, Claire laughed. The sound was light and exhausted and happy. I'll buy you breakfast, the expensive kind. Deal. They cleaned up in comfortable silence, putting away tools, sweeping sawdust. The workshop looked empty without furniture in progress. Feels weird, Jake said, to be done. Good weird or bad weird? Noah asked. Both. Claire looked around. I'm going to miss this space. All the late nights and coffee runs and creative arguments. Who says it has to end? Noah set down the broom. We could do another project, something smaller, just to keep the collaboration going. You want to keep working with me? I want to keep working with you, and living with you, and building a life with you. The workshop went quiet. Jake looked between them and grinned. Is this the part where you tell her you love her? Jake, because it's pretty obvious, you both are terrible at hiding it. Claire was smiling, eyes bright. Your son has a point. Noah crossed to her, took both her hands. I love you. I don't know when it happened. Probably somewhere between the first argument about wood grain and the moment you stood up to David. But I love you. And I want to see what we can build together. Not just furniture, everything. Everything's a lot. I'm aware. I love you too, Claire said. Even when you're stubborn, especially when you're stubborn, you make me want to be braver, to trust, to believe that partnership can look like this. They kissed, soft and certain. Jake made a gagging sound from the floor. You're both disgusting, in a good way. Can we eat now? They laughed. The three of them left the workshop together. The furniture was done, the project complete, but the real work was just beginning. The hotel opened on schedule. Richard gave a speech. The press took photos. The furniture looked like it had always belonged there. Claire stood with Noah in the restaurant, watching people sit at the tables they'd built, running hands over the smooth wood. Some didn't even realize they were doing it. They love it, she said. They love what we made. A woman at table 3 proposed to her girlfriend. Everyone applauded. The couple kissed. The ring glinted under the chandelier. First proposal on your furniture, Claire said. That's got to feel good. It feels like we built something that mattered. Jake appeared with 3 plates of appetizers. The chef sent these, said anyone who makes tables this beautiful deserves free food. I like this chef, Noah said. They ate in the corner, watching their work exist in the world, being used and loved and lived in. Richard found them after dessert. Claire, Noah, exceptional work. I have 3 more hotels opening next year. Interested? Claire looked at Noah. He nodded. We're interested, she said, on one condition. We work together, equal partners, no individual contracts. Done. Richard shook their hands. I'll have contracts sent over next week. He left. Jake whistled. 3 more hotels. You guys are actually doing this. We're actually doing this, Noah said. Does this mean you're moving in together? Because Claire's apartment is way nicer than ours. Jake, what? I'm being practical. Also, her coffee maker is better. Claire laughed. We haven't talked about moving in together. But you're thinking about it, Jake said. I can tell. You both get this look. What look? Noah asked. The look that says you're building something permanent. It's the same look you have when you're working on furniture you really care about. Noah glanced at Claire. She was smiling. Your son's observant. Too observant. So, Jake pressed, are you moving in together or what? That's a conversation for later, Noah said, when there's less public audience. Fine, but for the record, I approve. Claire's cool, and she makes you happy. Also, her coffee maker. We get it. The coffee maker is important. They laughed. The restaurant hummed around them, people eating and talking and celebrating. The furniture held them all, steady and beautiful and built to last. 6 months later, Noah was in the workshop, not his garage anymore, an actual studio space downtown, big windows, proper ventilation, room for 2 workstations. Claire came in with coffee and a new set of design sketches. Richard confirmed, the Seattle hotel wants all custom pieces, bigger budget, longer timeline. We can do that. She set the sketches on the workbench. We can also do this. Noah looked at the drawing. A small table, 2 chairs, delicate but strong. What's this for? For us, for the house. What house? Claire pulled up photos on her phone. A craftsman bungalow with a workshop out back. Hardwood floors, big kitchen, 3 bedrooms. Jake helped me find it. He said you'd love the workshop, and the kitchen has space for my coffee maker. Noah stared at the photos. You found us a house. I found us a home, if you want it. Claire, I know it's fast. I know we said we'd take things slow, but slow isn't working for me anymore. I want breakfast together. I want late nights designing and early mornings building. I want Jake's terrible jokes at dinner and your tools in the yard and our life in the same space. Noah pulled her close. That's a lot of want. I know, too much? Not even close. He kissed her, long and certain. The workshop was warm. Sawdust hung in the air. Their designs covered the walls. Yes, he said against her mouth. Yes? Yes to the house, yes to breakfast, yes to building a life together, all of it. Claire smiled. Jake's going to be insufferable when we tell him he was right. He's 16, he's already insufferable. They laughed. Outside, Portland stretched gray and green under spring rain. Inside, the workshop was golden, full of tools and coffee and the promise of work yet to come. Noah looked at the table Claire had designed. Small but strong, built for a family of 3, for meals and homework, and the kind of ordinary life he'd stopped believing he deserved. When do we start? He asked. How about now? They pulled out the plans, started measuring and calculating. The table would take a week, maybe 2. But they had time. They had each other. They had Jake making terrible jokes from the doorway. The first cut was always the most important. The moment when potential became real, when idea became form. Noah made the cut, clean and certain. The blades sang through the wood. Claire's hand rested on his shoulder. Steady, present, home. Outside, the rain continued. Inside, they built something worth keeping, together.